So they are conditioning on this 99 Suburban. Previous video, you see why you RTFM, read the manual. So this one ran low on refrigerant. You could see all the oil build. This is the underside of the compressor, and it built up a lot of oil and dust over the years. It also had a pretty good clutch gap there. No oils coming out at all whatsoever. It didn't burn up. It was very luckily. Just the slightest gray tarnish coming out of the compressor from overheating. This was upside down and down inside. There's absolutely no, there was no oil in here at all. And then you go, why is there no oil in there? There's no oil in there because the customer kept using the compressor when it just had vapor left in the system. And no, low pressure switches do not save your compressor or your system. It might have helped save it, but they won't always save it, and it lets it turn on and operate. So what happens is vapor refrigerant just travels in the system, and it picks up the oil out of the accumulator, or it doesn't even let it get back this far, but it picks it up out of the accumulator, goes to the compressor, picks it up out of the compressor, and then ejects the oil out of the high side line. And the vapor goes back. It loses velocity as it goes through the big lines, going to the rear evaporator, going all the way in the rear. And as it goes through the evaporators, the oil falls out of suspension and just starts gathering and building up inside the evaporators and doesn't come back to the accumulator. And it keeps repeating this process, cleaning the oil out of here until it's sterile. And it would have if it could have kept on it. Sometimes it'll eat up the compressor and it swipes out the oil out of here and keeps ejecting it. And that's why there's no oil in here and no oil in here, because it's back into two evaporators, one in the front, one in the rear. And what you normally do, if you really want to know, you drill a hole in the bottom. You have your accumulator like this, put it on your bench, drill a hole and let it sit and let the oil pour out and see how much oil pours out. Of course, you turn your compressors upside down and see how much oil pours out, and there's nothing. So I know basically, other than this is a very large like sponge in here, the desiccant material, you know, you'll have an ounce or two of oil in that desiccant material that's inside here, but it's been pretty well cleaned. If I cut this open and I take the desiccant material out, it's going to be pretty dry, where sometimes they'll be pretty wet and dripping with oil. Other times, like this one, if I cut them open, because I've cut open hundreds of these since I was a kid, cut it open, the desiccant material will be light. If you had two exactly identical OEM accumulators, you can measure the weight of this one, and if you knew the exact weight of a brand new one and a used one, it would be heavier because of oil, and the difference would let you know how much oil and weight was absorbed into the desiccant bag. All right, I'm going to get on to adding oil and charging this one.